18 after 4, we are chatting how electric two-wheelers are gaining ground in Africa. Joining us now to chat about eWAKA, which is straight out of Kenya, is Celeste Vogel. Celeste, welcome to the Upside on Channel Africa.
Thank you. Thank you, Poppy. Thank you for having me.
Yay.
So let's talk about this industry, electric vehicles in Africa, and especially now that we're putting it on two wheels. Talk to us about that.
Well, yeah, I guess the future has come. Electric two-wheelers are the new way to move particularly for commercial users of two-wheelers. Yeah, what would you like to know?
Let's talk about international investment in, two-wheelers and eWAKA specifically. How does it usually work in terms of the African continent and how we get, stuff like this going? How have you gone about it from your perspective?
So I can tell you the way we went about it and what I think should happen.
Sure.
I think it's important to get started. I think one has to kind of bootstrap to, particularly when it comes to the operationalization of something of that complexity, right? Like electric two-wheelers are not new. They've existed in China for the last 30, 40 years even, right? And so when this started being introduced in Africa already about 10 years ago, the big focus was on whether or not the existing two-wheelers were actually going to be adapted to our market, right? So you had initial skepticism about the range, about the robustness of the vehicles, right? Like our landscape, our road infrastructure is different from China's. The most important question for commercial users, like in Kenya, we call them Boda Boda riders, was would they withstand the demands of commercial use, right? And so you have to test it. And so that's what we did. We came with our own funds and then tested it and then realized that there needed to be some design adjustments to ensure that, we could put on the road vehicles that would compare in their resilience and their robustness to what people were used to. Take a TVS or a Bajaj or a Honda or Yamaha, would it compare to that over time and in terms of, resilience with respect to the commercial use?
When we say commercial use, Celeste, I feel it's quite broad. When you were pitching this, kind of going through the different phases in business, what were some of the industries you had in mind to adopt this model?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think for East Africa, it's clear there's two main uses of these vehicles, right? There's like basically transportation of people, right? Like it's main taxi. And the second use case is really transportation of goods, right? When we first started, we did a market study and it became apparent that the motorbike could be used to carry anything, right? Like from your letter, 200-gram letter to a cow, to an animal. And the reason for this is because, as you know, we are one of the least motorized continents and in terms of car and four-wheelers. And so the two-wheeler is really your main source of transportation. So we addressed the way we started is we looked into this commercial use and then we decided to focus on delivery and carrying of goods and, everything in the last mile. You have to start somewhere, and that's where we chose to start. So we were looking at restaurants, farmers, healthcare providers, you name it, anyone who had a good that needed to be transported from point A to point B. On short distances, that is from 1 to 15, 20 kilometers, that would be like the sweet spot for last mile logistics.
Celeste, when we talk electric mobility, some of the concerns are around charging of the battery and just the range, in terms of how far you can get on one particular charge. Those are some of the concerns. How does the battery swapping model that you guys have address those concerns?
Right. This is a really good question. I think, how far you can get with a vehicle is a concern, regardless of whether it's an EV
Sure.
or, or an ICE vehicle. I think the real question is, are there opportunities to refuel, if you will, right? Like, are there opportunities for you to get another battery or to charge your battery? Or as you said, swap. For me, I think it's important to note that swapping in and of itself is not like, the answer to that question. The question is, when you are talking about range anxiety, where are you going to be able to refuel your vehicle? Where are you going to be able to get a new charge? And that is a holistic question. It's a question about electric infrastructure, like in homes. When you look at certain countries, like for example in the US or even in China, in Asia, a lot of people charge at home. So home charging is a thing. With the big difference with Africa is that our infrastructure, the wiring infrastructure may not be adapted for that kind of current, right? And so people started by creating charging infrastructure that is more public than private, right? And so today, swapping is one of the models, but there are many other innovative possibilities for us. For example, our motorbikes take 2 batteries. And then we have a pay-per-use app that allows you to actually self-swap. So you can actually go pay to unlock the charging functionality in your bike, and then you are able to charge that one battery while you go and do your business on the other battery. Right, that's one way of doing it, so that you always have access, and you don't own the battery, but you are able to access charging infrastructure at multiple places and access a battery. With swapping, it's a little bit different. You can just basically get a battery and then go in and then get another one, and you always have that one battery that you pay for. But I think the most important thing is to look at it from a global charging infrastructure point of view. Would people be able to charge at home? Do we have the phase installations in a house that are necessary for people to be able to charge? Can we have distributor charging points? Can we have pay-per-use energy models? I think one size doesn't fit all, and it would be really short-sighted for us on the continent to sort of like preempt that choice and then decide that only this model is available.
Celeste, can we zoom into you for a moment? Because I do get the sense that you know so much about this industry, but you're a Black woman trailblazing within the motoring and, the tech space as well. Because, this is ultimately tech. How hard has it been having to explain this to people? Because I do find that sometimes when something like this comes from a Black woman, you almost have to explain it to a 5-year-old when it's literally to professionals, just because of the fact that it's you doing it, especially in Africa.
Yeah. No, that's an excellent point. I think you have to choose the circles in which you choose to choose your battles, right? I'm a lawyer by background. I've spent my career understanding other complex systems. I worked with actuaries, with traders, with engineers in previous roles, and I think my training has helped me be able to explain complex concepts. And as I said, it wasn't, I wasn't an engineer before, so I had to also dig deep and understand it. But I think it's important to note that in the African context, it's a little bit beyond the technology of the bike, right? Like, I mean, this technology exists, right? Like, as I said, electric vehicles have existed for, many decades now. And that is not really the innovation. I think the innovation is in how we're going to use it, right? Like in how we're going to drive revenue for the users on the continent, right? It's about productivity. It's about productive use. And so when you're talking to people who understand this, the conversation can get pretty interesting.
Celeste, you are the CEO of eWAKA Mobility Limited. Can you chat to us about where we can find more information on your startup?
Yeah, so we are on, we have a website, www.ewaka.tech. You can also find us on all of the social media with our handle ewaka.tech on Instagram, on LinkedIn, on TikTok, wherever, you can find us there, and then you can give us a call, right? And we're always happy, or you can send me an email at celeste@ewaka.tech. Always happy to answer questions and engage on this topic.
Are we correct in saying that you are in Kenya?
I am based in Kenya, correct.
Fantastic. We'll be coming there soon, and we will come have a drink or two with you.
Hopefully get on a bike.
And get an eWAKA to take us home, honey. We're
Let's
a party.
do it. The CEO of eWAKA Mobility on the upside, Celeste Vogel. Thank you so much for joining us on Channel Africa.
Thank you for having me.
I trust Poppy to get us to party all over this continent, man. First
Right?
Rwanda, now Kenya. Wait,
We are within.
Your mind, I hope this weekend's plan is for you to go find your passport. Guess this.
Yo.
Yes, no,
It's
assignment.
embarrassante, this thing that I don't know where my passport is. Don't worry, I'm
Get
on
that.
it. Thank you.
It is 4:30 Central African time. Let's get into the sports with Zycon.